Hey, welcome back. Last night at the Thursday night pub games, I took Sharuum out, test out some of the changes I made, see how she works. She's still not performing as well as I would expect. And I realized the problem is she could protect herself very well. Last night, for example, 3 turns in a row, my opponent attacked me with some tiny little creature with 20 pieces of equipment on it. First turn that he attacked me, I was able to threaten Temporal Gateway into play, a Spine of Isha, destroying it. Next turn, he attacked. I threatened Temporal Gateway, flashed into play, Sculpting Skeel, copied Spine of Isha, destroying it. Third turn, same thing, only this with the Phyrexian Metamorph. I was not able to assemble my combo as much as I was digging for it. Any of the combos, either the Rocket Launcher combo, Memnarch combo, or Disciple of the Vault combo, because I was missing Disciple of the Vault. So it was becoming very frustrating. Even though I put in some new threats, and I'll show you what those threats are, they just didn't come up, so I don't have enough. She doesn't have the threat density she needs to present a board presence before I can assemble the combo. So before I can assemble the combo, I'm just treading water, just sitting around durdling. And let me show you the reason for that. The reason for that is Sharuum started as Sydri. This is the first Esper artifact EDH deck I made, Sydri Galvanic Genius. When I saw her spoiled in the precons, I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. So all I need to do is play a bunch of mana rocks and some fun artifacts, and I can use the mana rocks to make the other mana rocks creatures, and then I can give the creatures Death Touch, Lifelink, and so attack with lethal threats and win that way. Here's the problem. The problem is that it's very mana intensive. So every artifact that Sydri turns on, I need blue for. So if I want to turn on 4 artifacts in one turn, I need 4 blue. If I want to give any of them Death Touch, Lifelink, I need white-black for each one. So in practice, Sydri just was too mana hungry. Riku of 2 Reflections has the same problem. The same fundamental problem where he is very mana hungry in order for you to do what he's presenting for you to do. Let me talk about some of the cards I had in the deck. The other thing I was doing with Sydri is I was just experimenting with different artifacts, different things, just seeing what artifacts are fun to play with, what artifacts have an ability that I really like, and so on. The problem with that is it makes the deck very disjointed. It starts taking away from the focus, and the focus with Sydri is already very hard. Now, something that if I were to rebuild Sydri, which I have no plans to do so, something that would be very good for Sydri is Urza. Bring it up, Urza, Lord High Artificier. So if I had Urza in Sydri, then I could just tap whatever artifacts I'm not utilizing at the time as an attacker for the blue. His middle ability, tap an untapped artifact you control, add blue. So if any of you, and I will share this deck after this, after I post this, so you can look at it. If any of you decide you want to build Sydri, Urza is a must-have, simply for that middle ability to get you the blue you need in order to turn on your other artifacts, your non-creature artifacts, and attack with them. So let's take him down to considering. The other thing, okay, so I had Venser in there. I had Venser for the longest time in Sharuum, and the thing is, you can see Sharuum down here. So when I had Sydri, I had Sharuum in the deck, and basically what I did to make Sharuum is I just swapped in Sharuum as the commander, took Sydri out, and started putting different things in. So my build of Sharuum She still has Tezzeret the Seeker. She had Venture the Sojourner. I took him out because in Sharuum, he's not really that relevant. Sure, I can exile Sharuum herself, have her come back and play, Sphinx Summoner, but there are not quite enough blink effects, quite enough things with an enter the battlefield trigger that I feel justifies the inclusion of Venser when I can put in an artifact. So he's not in the current build of Sharuum. Other than that, Baleful Strix, Copper Gnomes, Duplicate, Adjudicator, Canonist. I took her out last night. I realized that, yes, when she comes into play, gaining 3 life for each artifact I control is really nice, but she's not a threat. All she does is buffer my life, and she can save me from dying, but I have other things in the deck that give things lifelink. So I don't need to gain a huge chunk of life in one go. If I can just keep above a level where I can be easily knocked out, then that's sufficient. So in Sharuum, I'm taking her out. Guardian Beast, I haven't owned one for about 20 years. So this was a counterfeit that I had in my deck. Since then, I've taken all counterfeits out of my paper EDH decks, and I only have the authentic cards. My vintage decks still have a lot of counterfeits, because otherwise I couldn't play vintage. There's no way I can justify to my wife buying a dual land, once in a great while. Can't really justify buying a Mox, let alone 3 for one deck. Sanctum Gargoyle. So blinking effects, he's pretty good. Memnarch, of course, is a key part. The combo was present in Sydri, as well it was in Sharuum, except at the time I did not have Voltaic Construct when I built Sydri. Keep in mind, this deck I took apart about 5 years ago and changed it to Sharuum. Transmuter, Karn. This is going into Sharuum. So essentially, the deck Sharuum and Sydri have a lot of overlap, and that was the problem, is they overlap too much. So here's the thing with Sydri. What I was trying to do is, okay, so I can make the Memorial a 7/7 artifact, give it Death Touch, Lifelink. That's a lethal threat. That's pretty good. And it has Flying, First Strike, Vigilant, everything else. That's cool. Alabra's Carpet. El Abara's Carpet, same thing. But the problem is, it's very hungry for mana. So I've got all these artifacts that I can turn on in Sydri, and it's just very difficult to have that much mana floating around. So that's why I said at the beginning, Urza, Lord High Artificier, he would be excellent in a Sydri rebuild, but I have no intentions of rebuilding Sydri. I just wanted to show you where Sharuum came from and what I'm still overcoming, because even after all these years, I still haven't fully made Sharuum. She's still just a modified Sydri, and that's my problem. For example, I put in Vault of the Archangel. Okay, so if I have to spend 2 black, 2 white to give 2 creatures Death Touch and Lifelink with Sydri, well, hell, I might as well spend that and tap the Vault of the Archangel and give them all Death Touch and Lifelink. And that remained in Sharuum, even though there aren't that many artifacts that I'm going to be using it with. There aren't that many creatures I'm going to be needing to give Death Touch and Lifelink to. But I kept it in because it is low-hanging fruit. It still gives me colorless mana, comes into play untapped. If I need to, I can utilize the ability to give creatures Death Touch and Lifelink to buff me back up. And this is why I felt taking out the Filigree Angel was justifiable. Other than that, the mana base, now it's pretty much the same again. I had taken out Temple of the False God in Sharuum. I put it back in. I don't have Buried Ruin because I don't think I need it. Because Sharuum is the commander, so at any time I can just cast her and get whatever artifact I want back into play, not simply in my hand. Petrified Field, I replaced that. That is not in Sharuum, nor is Deserted Temple. I just realized I didn't need them. So this Sydri, with too many experiments, too many different things pulling my focus, not enough mana generation, too many tricks, too many instants, too many sorceries, not enough Urza. A few years ago, like I said, I turned her into Sharuum. So let's take a look at Sharuum. And you can see, okay, so I still have Tezzeret the Seeker. I took out Fencer, the Sojourner, and I put in, take your pick, Tezzeret Agent of Bolus or Tezzeret Artifice Master. One of them essentially replaced him. But the creature suite is kind of the same. I didn't have Disciple of the Vault in Sydri because I wasn't doing Sharuum combo because she wasn't my commander. I could have, but I just didn't. So what I need to do with Sharuum is either go all in combo, make it a combo deck. I am going to assemble my combo and kill everybody that way. So I should put in Demonic Tutor, I should put in Vampiric Tutor, I should put in things that go that route. That's one of the choices I have. I don't want to go that way. I want to assemble the combo as a sideline. I want my main focus just to be playing with artifacts and having cool artifact creatures. So to that end, I'm taking out some of the things that aren't quite working well enough in Sharuum and making her more her own thing. So Filigree Angel, let's move that down to Considering because I'm taking her out. Let's move him down to Considering because I'm taking him out. So what am I keeping? I'm keeping Baleful Strix. That's just too easy. Flying Death Touch, draw a card, fantastic. Burnished Heart, it's good to get lands. Copper Gnomes, it's a hell of a surprise when I spend 4, sacrifice him, and drop something like, I don't know, Darksteel Colossus, or Sphinx of the Steel Wind. I ordered one today. I do not expect to have the Sphinx of the Steel Wind in time for next week, Thursday's pub night. But I've got one on the way, and it will be going in this deck. Stuff of the Vault, keep him in for the combo. Duplicant, stops opposing creatures, 1 creature. It also gets around, so last night my friend was playing, what the hell is he? The Archon. Archon that when he enters the battlefield or dies, exile target permanent. So if I have Duplicant and I exile him, he's not dying, he's going away, so I don't get anything exiled out of spite and revenge. Archon of something. Therium Sculptor. He's just great because he makes all the artifacts cost less. Aethersworn Adjudicator. Had him in my hand last night. Again, I didn't cast him. Didn't really think I needed him at the time. I go back and forth between taking him out and leaving him in. He's still a decent threat. 5 mana for a 4/4 flyer. And he's got that ability to destroy a creature or enchantment, so he'll stay on eventually. I'm sure he'll prove his value. Metalworker. Always fantastic to have a Metalworker ready to go. Memnarch. So that's one of the infinite combos that I don't really have a way of assembling by tutoring. I have to draw into it, but when he comes into play, everybody kind of take notice, wonder what's going to happen next. Monster Transmuter. Bounce Hex Parasite to your hand, drop in Darksteel Colossus. There's beauty in that. Lowstone Golem does good work, slows everybody else down. Karn, combo enabler, great blocker, looks cool, he's staying. Hex Parasite, my Planeswalker killer. Aetherstorm Cannon install, she was great last night. I got her down on turn 2. And then my opponents, of course, like, oh, except the guy playing the equipment deck. He figured it out within a couple turns that he needs to play his equipment and spend his mana that way and equip, rather than trying to cast out anything else. The other guy was slowed down sufficiently. Noxious Gearhulk, another creature killer. Padim, I'll keep Padim. He only costs 1 blue. He's got a decent sized body, 1/4. I might put in liquid metal coating so I can make him an artifact, give him hexproof, but it's only 1 card. It's not that necessary. If he dies, he dies. But it's something I think about sometimes. You know, if there was a land that you could tap, make something an artifact, I would definitely put that in. But there's not, so I don't. Phyrexian Metamorph, always fantastic. Platinum Angel, she is actually coming out. I had her in last night, and I realized that relying on a 4/4 artifact creature that could be destroyed by anything that destroys artifacts, nearly anything that kills a creature, and if I'm relying on her to keep me alive, then I have to spend a lot of time and resources into protecting her. I might as well not have her in play, and in the instances where she would keep me alive, let's say I was at 10 poison counters or more, I went to negative a lot, it's probably better for me to just die and restart the game, start a new game. It's probably hanging around long enough with her keeping me in the game, probably not necessary. So I'm taking her out. Scarecrow. She doesn't do her thing very often, but when she does, she does. Brings artifact creatures in the graveyard to play. Salmson Lacrum. He stays. Always fantastic. Spell Skite. Yep, protects my other artifacts. Sphinx Summoner. It can go find Memnarch. It can go find all kinds of nasty things I'll show you in just a second. It can find Voltaic Construct, which is a critical part of the 2 4-piece combos. Wormcoil Engine. It's just, why not? If I sacrifice it, if it dies, it splits in half, and I can go to town that way. Alright, so you can see instants. So the instants are a lot different in Sharuum than Sydri. So I've cut it down to 4 from 6. I've cut the sorceries down to 1. Took out Open the Vaults. Let me show a comparison. So Sydri had Open the Vaults, which more often than not is going to refuel my opponents as much as will help me. Planar Cleansing, well, I'll just use Neveral's Disc and Darkseal Forge. So I don't need Planar Cleansing. Same with Supreme Verdict. I really don't need it. So I took these out of Sharuum when I built her. Turn Aside I took out because it only protects one thing. Trick Bind. I'm actually putting in something similar because I realized that my graveyard can become a target, a juicy target from Jukabog, and I need some way of protecting it. Momentary Blink, since I don't have that many ETB effects in Sharuum. When Sydri became Sharuum, I took that out. Same as Clonic Rift. That and the fact that it just pisses everybody off. So it came out. Cancel. Don't really need it. So you can see how many instances I had. 6 down to 4. So I still have Counterspell. Changed one of them to Counter Squall. And Disallow. Disallow will protect my graveyard because I can counter Bajuka Bog's triggered ability. Teferi's Protection, same thing. Somebody goes to do something I don't like, I can phase out. I have protection from everything. So artifacts. Arcane Signet. When I had her, Arcane Signet had not even been printed yet. That's how old that deck is. She precedes the printing of Arcane Signet. Darksteel Forge, of course, Sharuum needs that. Elixir of Immortality. So this is a standby way of protecting my graveyard. I just kind of throw it out there and leave it off to the side. When I feel like my graveyard might be tempting, I will leave 2 mana ready during my opponent's turn for either counterspell or to trigger their Elixir of Immortality. So they go to Bojuka Bog, in response, trigger the elixir, drink it, and shuffle my graveyard and my library to save whatever I have stacked up in there. Erratic Portal, another way of saving some of my creatures. Good Lotus, part of the combo. Lightning Greaves, new addition to Sharuum. There aren't that many targets for it, aren't that many creatures that have a tap ability, but I'm putting in more creatures that I want to attack with. So it was quite effective last night because on turn 2 I played the hell is her name again? Aetherstorm Canonist. On turn 3, Lightning Greaves, gave her the Greaves just to protect her. Mana Vault. I realized I really don't need Basalt Monolith. I've got Mana Vault. I can use the Mana Vault in place of it in that Rocket Launcher combo. So I'm planning to drop the Basalt Monolith. Since he's Divining Top, I'm thinking about cutting this. I really don't need it. Look at the top 3 cards in my library. Okay, that's great sometimes. Last night I had it in my hand. I just didn't want to cast it. Just didn't need it. I'd rather just keep casting Memory Jar, breaking it, getting it back out of the graveyard and doing it again, than bothering just with the top 3. So I'll probably cut Sensei's Divining Top for something. Sculpting Steel. Okay. Great to copy an artifact. Rocket Launcher. Yeah, combo. Disc and Forge. Blow up everything that isn't mine every turn. Mox Opal. Mirage Mirror. Memory Jar. Fantastic. Soul Ring. Spine of Isha. I love this card. Therian Temporal Gateway. I may put a Spine of Isha from my hand into play by only paying 4. Blow something up. Tormod's Crypt. Okay, so I have ways of protecting my graveyard. Thinking about it, it's logical to consider that I might need ways of destroying one of my opponent's graveyards, and I can recur it. So this is why Bojuka Bog is not present in Sharuum, because I have Tormod's Crypt and I can find it with Desert Seeker. I can recur it with Academy Ruins, for example, and it doesn't come into play tapped. Unwinding Clock. This is working really good last night. Voltaic Key, same thing. Enchantments. I finally played Smothering Tithe last night. I'd never played it before, and I loved it. It worked really well. Lands. So there are 37 lands. I won't go over these in detail. I've gone over them in detail before, and time is running out. I think I only get 30 minutes on this program to record the video. So you can see now I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana rocks. That's a lot. Or it can be. I used to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I used to have 10 mana rocks. And they, yeah, it's great to accelerate. It's great to get them in play and do stuff, but they just sit there sometimes. And after a while, I don't need the mana. I don't really care about turning them into creatures because they're only 2/2s. If I had Sydri and a shitload of mana, okay, yeah, 2/2 Death Touch, Lifelink, that could be a threat, but this is Sharuum. And after a while, I don't need them, so I'm cutting out some of the mana rocks. I'm cutting the signets to bring in an Armillary Sphere, put that back in, so I can search for 2 basic land cards, put them in my hand. I'm going to get a Star Compass. I want to try this out. It looks really cool. I love the art. And, okay, so it enters battlefield tapped. Alright. Add 1 mana of any color that a basic land you control can produce. Okay, that's interesting. Yes, it comes into play tapped, but it doesn't have an activation cost. It should be able to tap for any of my 3 colors a given time, especially if I put in the armillary sphere, so I can search for 2 basic land cards and put them in my hand. And also keep in mind that I have the Burnished Heart, another way of getting the basic lands I need to turn on the Star Compass. Other things that I've taken out Codex Shredder, because I never used it, never needed it, to put in Darksteel Colossus, so I have a lethal threat. I also let's go back up, because I thought I had put him in considering, but I had not. I put in an Inkwell Leviathan, and let's give him the proper printing. Mine is from Conflux. So Codex Shredder came out, Darksteel Colossus goes in. These signets are coming out. Armillary Sphere is going in. Star Compass is going in. And Walking Atlas. So Walking Atlas, I can put a land card from my hand onto the battlefield. If I'm drawing a bunch of cards with Memory Jar regularly, I want ways of playing out more of my lands. So Walking Atlas is fantastic in this deck. I don't have an extra terrain generator to put into Sharuum, because I only like the foil ones. I don't like the flat ones, and I don't really feel like spending the 20 euros right now to get another foil one. So Walking Atlas it is. I'm taking out Arkham Dagson from Sharuum, and I'm putting in Kodaltha Forgemaster. So Dagson he makes somebody sacrifice an artifact creature. I could do that to my opponents, but I don't know what they're going to find, and I don't want to take the chance. And since he says creature specifically, sometimes I don't quite want to do it. Also because he's not an artifact, I can't protect him as well in my artifact deck. He doesn't mesh so well. He's only a 2/2. So I'm putting in Kodaltha Forgemaster. Yes, I have to sacrifice 2 more artifacts in order to activate the Forgemaster to go get my Darksteel Forge. But he is a 3/5, and he is an artifact. So if nothing else, in a bind I can use Tether the Seeker to seek him out. So he goes in the main deck. Platinum Angel is coming out for Inkwell Leviathan, because he's more of a threat. 7/11, Idlewamp Trample Shroud. Yeah, that'll get somebody's attention more than a 4/4 that's keeping me in the game longer than I should be. Filigree Angel, she came out for Steel Hellkite. Did I put Steel Hellkite up here? No, I did not. Steel Hell, come on, find it. There it is. So, Filigree Angel, she comes into play. Again, 3 life for every artifact. That can be huge. That can be, plus 30 life. But then she's just a 4/4 flyer for 8. Steel Hellkite comes down, 5/5 flyer for 6, and if he smashes somebody, I get to destroy some of their stuff. So, it's more of a threat, and I'm trying to make Sharuum more threatening. Another thing I'm putting in is Armory Automaton. A friend of mine started his equipment deck, and this lets me steal it. When it enters the battlefield attacks, I can attach any number of target equipment to it. I can steal all his equipment, throw it on this guy, and smash him back. So he's going in. Okay, 8 seconds left. I'm probably going to end up, yeah, chromatic lantern. Probably put that back. Wow, I've gone over 30 minutes. It's still recording. I don't trust this, but let's get on with it. I was rushing because I thought I needed to blitz it, but maybe not. So now, in this version of Sharuum, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 mana rocks, plus Walking Atlas, Burnished Heart, and Solemn Simulacrum. So I should be okay for my mana in this build. I still have 1 slot left that will be filled by the Sphinx of the Steel Wind when I get her. But in the meantime, I either want Basalt Monolith, or Chromatic Lantern. I'm not sure which one better offhand, or if there's something else I was considering that I should put in. I remember what it is. I remember what is missing. So I want to experiment with this. Yes, I'm increasing the number of instants, the number of reactions, but I wanted another way to protect my graveyard. I could use Witchbane Orb because it is an artifact deck, but Witchbane Orb does, it just sits there, does nothing else. Kind of shaky. I don't want to rely on something that somebody cast Decimate. I need an artifact to blow up. Just blow it up. I don't want any of that nonsense happening. So I'm going to put Tails End into the deck and see how I like it. So anyway, this is the new build of Sharuum, the upgraded modified version. And next Thursday at the EDH pub night, I'll take her out. I'll sort out my equipment problems so I can record the game for you and see how well this does. See if she has broken free of the curse of Sydri, and if Sharuum is now fully her own deck and isn't just some ghost of Sydri chugging along, dirtling through the game trying to assemble her combo. Should be fun.